This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hey, what's up? It's Mario Lopez. Back to school is an exciting time, but it can also be overwhelming, and kids may feel isolated, a vulnerability that human traffickers can exploit. Human trafficking doesn't always look like what you expect. Everyday moments can become opportunities for someone with bad intentions. Whether you're a parent, teacher, coach, or neighbor, check in, ask questions, stay connected. Blue Campaign is a national awareness initiative that provides resources to help recognize suspected instances of human trafficking. Learn the signs and how to report at dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Saks Off 5th is your secret to fashion's most wanted deals at up to 70% off. On the hunt for designer steals that'll turn heads and leave a trail of envy? Uncover Gucci, Valentino, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more, with new arrivals dropping weekly at prices too good to stay confidential. Luxe layers, statement boots, and tailored essentials from Saks Off 5th will put your wardrobe on the most wanted list. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for a style lineup you won't want to miss.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen. And it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
And
common man, no show pep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. Yes, a daring approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, challenge the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
oh boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
1 year ago, we knocked on the door. This year, we beat on the door. Next year, we're going to kick the son of in. Carry it.
Game plan looks like.
He's already hurt.
I'm going to make him an offer again.
You guys are going to criticize whatever you want to criticize.
Timberwolves superfan KFAN Stan Barrero.
You find this funny, Mr. Groh? You're smiling. Do you find this humorous? No, they're not. Do you find this humorous, Mr. Groh? You're laughing and smiling. I'm just wondering if you do. You didn't answer my question, Mr. Groh. Do you find this humorous?
No, I find it keeping a 4-year kid.
At least you're not smiling and laughing now. Oh, I guess you're back at it again now.
Hey, who is Johnny King?
Thank you.
Huh? Who? Huh? Who? Huh? Who?
the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North.
That's not even
This
close.
is the common man, Dan Cole.
Number 2, rising like a phoenix from the ashes. Little ack, ack, a dack, and dack, dack, act you yours. I'm Comedy's 10 to be here till 3. Uninformed, unprepared, and unapologetic about it. That's what we hang our hat on here on the Common Man program.
We could add unintelligent.
Unintelligent, yes, we could add that, though. There's a lot of uns we could add. A lot of on this, on that. There's plenty. If you have more ideas, go ahead, jot them down and send them to me. And then there's, if you want poised, polished, and professional, well, just wait till 3 o'clock and you'll get it with Big Ticket and JG. You know, Tenny, if I had that, by the way, I was corrected by a listener. I love the people that, you know, this show, if it's nothing else, it's accurate. Well, it's fast-paced. And controversial too, but accuracy is kind of our middle name. And he said it's not a genie's bottle; it's a genie's lamp. Last night I held Aladdin's lamp, and before the thing could answer me, someone came and took the lamp away. I looked around, and a lousy candle is all I found. You don't know what we can find. Why don't you come with me, little girl, on my magic carpet ride? Aladdin's lamp. It's not a bottle. It's Aladdin's lamp. And so if I had Aladdin's lamp, Teneby, and I rubbed the Aladdin's lamp, and the genie popped out and said, Master, you have 3 wishes. Well, the first one would be I'd want 3 more wishes. Doesn't that make sense? I mean, why would I want to have 3 wishes, use all 3, and then got nothing left in my back pocket? So I'd ask for 3 more wishes. My next wish... No, I'm not wishing that it's noon Sunday. What I wish it was about a little less than a year from now, and we were about to go for week 1 of the NFL season, so we could start this whole thing over again, because it just hasn't gotten off to a very good start for the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings.
Not to sidetrack you, because I hate sidetracking you in your opening segment.
Sure.
Because usually you're going somewhere with it, and I sidetrack you.
I've got nothing going right now.
I feel like, in general, it's the genie's lamp, but in the television show I Dream of Genie, wasn't that more of like a bottle configuration than like a lamp configuration?
Yeah. Well, that's what, because if I was going to be, I'd like to be with Barbara Eden in 3D. 3D, that's my apartment number.
Yeah, baby.
It was a very provocative show. I mean, when you think about it, back in those days, Barbara Eden, Larry Hagman, and think of it, Larry Hagman went on to. I never watched Dallas, the television show. It was big in the 80s. Matter of fact, that's the. I don't know, Tim. You're probably old enough to at least know the Who Shot JR episode, right? Because he played JR, and I think Dallas was one of those. It's one of those weeknight dramas on TV. It was one of the most successful television shows of all time up to that point. I think it was, and he was JR. He was oil well guy or something. I never watched it. I've never been a real much of a TV guy other than and you know what? I just think with now I'm not going to be able to watch the Redford Files anymore because Robert. That's not funny. Sorry, Robert Redford died. In case you didn't know. And it was the Who Shot JR episode because he gets shot in one of the episodes, and they didn't know who did it. It was a whodunit kind of thing. And I think at that time, that episode had the largest viewing audience in the history of television. And then I think it was overtaken by the final episode of MASH. But anyway, Larry Hagman went from just playing this astronaut in a bad situation comedy to becoming one of the biggest TV stars in the history of television up until that point. So good for him. I don't know if Larry Hagman is still alive and well. Still alive and well every now and then. I know it's kind of hard to tell. He's still alive and well. Where was I going with the long rambling dissertation?
You had moved on to Vikings.
Well, here's the Vikings thing. Here's what I'm saying. You're familiar with Avatar, aggravated Vikings anticipatory traumatic abandonment reaction syndrome. Well, I think that's what I was going to say. Yeah. it's starting early this year. Now, generally speaking, it's like the flu or like COVID-19. It comes every year. It comes and goes. And usually it's not until like late October, early November. Sometimes it's not even until December. Last year it came late. Came in late December, early January is when COVID was full blown. I think it's coming on right now. And the drug companies are frantically working to try to find a vaccine, or at least something that will minimize the symptoms. Right now, we're in the early trial phase of carcinalis, and we'll see how that works. I don't know. I do know this. You had an interesting note that you sent me. Speaking of carcinalis, Carson Wentz. If he starts Sunday, and all roads point to him starting, he will be is it like the first quarter in the history of the NFL that will have started a game at quarterback for 6 different teams in 6 different seasons?
Correct.
I think he should try to play for every single team in the National Football League and start a game for them. That, to me, sure, you'd like to be the GOAT, right? You'd like to be considered the greatest of all time. Oh, sure, you'd like to have a couple 13, 14 rings. Yeah, you'd like to have the gold jacket and be in the Hall of Fame, like the calf roper, Jared Allen, and all the rest. But if you can't have that, you want something. I told you before, I wished I would, Al Downing. The only reason anybody knows Al Downing's name, he grooved it for Hank Aaron. He hit 715. Can't have something historically good, maybe biblically bad, but how about that record?
Yeah, Eagles 2020.
Started quarterback for every team in the National Football League. That's a record no one would ever match, ever.
Eagles 2020, Colts 2021, Commanders in 22, Rams in 23, Chiefs in 24, and now the Vikings in 25.
I wonder how successful he was in all those other starts. The Eagles was probably pretty good, but maybe not.
Well, that was actually, that was his down year where they had finally moved on from him after that year. So
yeah,
I don't think he's been, I think both Rams and Chiefs, he was strictly just a backup quarterback that just came in because of an injury.
Right, yeah.
Colts, he was the starter there, at least for a stretch of time. I don't really remember his running. I think for the Commanders, too, he might have been a starter for a while.
He was hoping that those spots were going to jumpstart his career. We'll see if he jumpstarts it now. Well, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. We'll dive into it a little deeper again today. There's plenty to get to here on the Common Man program. We'll take a short break. We'll come back. Rock Talk and Rock Rank. Rock Rank. Rock Rank. I can't stop saying Rock Rank.
I always love that one.
Rock Talk. Brian Oake joins us at 12:30. 120, head coach of the soon-to-be Big Game World Champions, Kevin O'Connell. It's his midweek news conference live from the New Winter Park, also known as the TCO Performance Center. And then the legendary Mark Rosen will join us just before 2 right here on the Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's Mario Lopez. Back to school is an exciting time, but it can also be overwhelming, and kids may feel isolated, a vulnerability that human traffickers can exploit. Human trafficking doesn't always look like what you expect. Everyday moments can become opportunities for someone with bad intentions. Whether you're a parent, teacher, coach, or neighbor, check in, ask questions, stay connected. Blue Campaign is a national awareness initiative that provides resources to help recognize suspected instances of human trafficking. Learn the signs and how to report at dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Saks Off 5th is your secret to scoring fashion's most wanted deals at up to 70% off. On the hunt for designer steals that'll turn heads and leave a trail of envy? Uncover Gucci, Valentino, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more top designers at prices too good to stay confidential. Dare to get caught up in luxe layers, statement boots, fall denim, and bohemian dresses from Saks Off 5th that'll put your wardrobe on the most wanted list. Men's must-haves are here too, with tailored essentials, cozy sweaters, sneakers, and designer accessories for every fall mission. With new arrivals dropping weekly at Saks Off 5th, the pursuit for the ultimate find is always on. Whether you're looking for a seasonal wardrobe refresh, shopping for a specific occasion, or just want to get inspired, Saks Off 5th is your partner in crime for the big score. Head to SaxOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day. This is a style lineup you won't want to miss.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, challenged us, or just made learning fun. Now's your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominated outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Today's teacher of the day is Kelly Perez, who teaches at Lake Harriet Community Lower Campus, and who folks told us cares about her students so much that they have returned to visit her for years after she has taught them. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
I bet you tend to be. By the way, what's the name of this ditty? Because these all, you told me once before, they all have a title to them.
This one's called Yacht on the Rocks.
Yacht on the Rocks. I liked it. This has like a Steely Dan vibe to me.
Yeah. I kind of like it.
It's got a little Donnie Fagen, Walt Becker feel to it, maybe a little Larry Carlton. And his 2 cents. Yeah, it's very nice.
When it describes the category of these songs, because there's a bunch of them all in the same category, throwback, retro, and classic 70s rock, pop, soft rock, classic rock.
That's it. I mean, that's Steely Dan. They're my favorite. You know, the old, you'll see this anytime they're doing like a profile on somebody, they'll ask them, if you're on a deserted island, what 5 albums would you have to have? I'd have to have, take away all the Beatles albums, and then after that, I'd have to have Asia by Steely Dan. I would have to have that album. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. Co-host for Rock Talk, Brian Oak does not like Steely Dan. He's not a fan. He thinks he doesn't like the idea that they're perfect, because that's the Steely Dan's calling card was. It's legendary. They would have guys come in and play like they're supposed to play like a 16-second lick on the guitar, and they'd try for 8 hours, and they'd finally go, "It ain't going to work. Sorry, thanks," and they'd send him on his way. A 16-second, they needed to just be absolutely perfect, and I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, if you're going to record something, right? If you're going to record a piece of music and put out an album, wouldn't you want it absolutely spot on how you want it to?
That's how we aspire to do this show.
Yeah,
we aspire for perfection,
and so. I don't have. That's why I don't have a problem with them. That's part of the reason I like them, because it's absolutely picture perfect. But that's another story for another time. I was reading the Fish Wrap Factory on the West. I shouldn't admit this, working at the All Sports radio station, but most of the time I just skim the sports pages of the East, West, Fish Wraps, and Athletic and everything else. But I did see the headline. Chris Hine wrote this. He's Timberwolves writer. It says, will the Wolves and Link get a new arena? New CEO, Matt Caldwell, has an update. And really the story is, it's really more about Matt Caldwell than anything. Matt was hired in the last, was it 6 weeks, 8 weeks ago? He was the former, at the time, he was the CEO of the Florida Panthers. He won back-to-back Stanley Cups. He must be doing something right in the CEO business. And so Mark Laurie and Alex Rodriguez, the new owners of the majority owners of the Minnesota Timberwolves, decided to hire Matt Caldwell, which might be a good move. I asked somebody, I don't know who it was, I think it was with Russo out at the fair, about, I would think being a CEO of a sports franchise, it doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, baseball, hockey, whatever, you're doing CEO stuff. You're not really evaluating talent. So I think if you're able to put together a nice tight ship for the Florida Panthers and the National Hockey League, you should be qualified. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but you should be qualified to do it in the National Basketball Association. But I read here the first paragraph is eye-opening to me. It says, when new Timberwolves and Lynx CEO Matt Caldwell had the same position with the Florida Panthers in the NHL, he said it took, quote, the first 5 or 6 years, unquote, for people to recognize him in public. And I'm sure if Rosen read that today, he's thinking to himself, my gosh, would I love that. Right? Because if you remember, Mark Rosen, when he came back from one of his camping trips, out of the wilderness somewhere. Now, wilderness for him is like, you know what roughing it is for Mark Rosen? Holiday Inn with the window open. I mean, that's roughing it for Mark Rosen, right? I actually like the Holiday Inn, particularly their towels. They're just so soft and fluffy. In fact, they're so soft and fluffy, I can hardly get my suitcase closed. But think about this.
Do you look into joke?
Oh, though I don't mind staying at La Quinta either. Do you know what La Quinta translates into in English, tend to be?
What's that?
Next to Denny's. Think about Mark Rosen, how much he would like, because he was on one of his roughing it camping trips, and he came back, he said, man, it was nice. It was refreshing, he said, not to be recognized anywhere I go. And now Matt Caldwell's kind of in that Mark Rosen situation. I mean, he'll never be recognized as much as Mark Rosen. And here's what he said. It's very humbling, and it goes to show you how passionate the fans are. It's an organic fan base here, and they've been coming to games. We can always deliver a better experience, and we can always treat them better. But anyway, he's already being recognized. He's always been here. But that's what happens in this town. When you come here, we embrace you. And if he wants to know about being recognized, you got to talk to Mark Rosen. You'll find out all.
That's your mentor right there.
That is exactly it. A peek at the purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Remember, end of the month, that $7,500 tax credit for electric vehicles. She's gone. She be gone. Gone. And so I mentioned this. I talked to my pals at Mauer, and I also saw 2 Sundays ago, not this past Sunday, the Sunday before, below the fold, Fisher Factory West Side of the story. EVs are disappearing quickly because people are going, well, I kind of want to try an EV. And so if I want to get that tax credit, I better do it. Well, then you need a place to plug it in. You can plug it into a regular 120-volt socket. They ain't going to get you very much of a charge. I've tried it back when I had my Bolt. But the 240, you can have it installed. You have to have an electrician do that. And boy, I tell you what, they've been doing a lot of them over at Affordable Electric. They know what they're doing. So if you need that or any other electrical needs, affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. And remember, always keep in mind, Affordable Electric is, oh yeah, baby, we are shockingly affordable. On the Vikings front, Tennessee, we talked yesterday. I threw that theory that some have. I threw it at Rosen. Is J.J. McCarthy's ankle really that bad, or was his performance so bad it's kind of almost convenient, right?
Sure.
It's like, he's got a bad ankle, and he's been awful. So, we don't want the situation to spiral completely out of control. Maybe we ought to have him rest a week or two and give Carson Wentz a shot, see what happens there. And I can understand Rosen's comebacks. He doesn't think he doesn't think that's there's a chance that's what they're doing, because he believes, and I agree with that well, if you're really going with the guy, it doesn't do him a lot of good to sit on the bench, right? I mean, because I think somebody told me PA said yesterday, this might be good for J.J. McCarthy to watch from the sideline. Well, he did that all last year.
He had a whole year to do that.
I think we're past it. If he needs another year, I think we got the wrong guy. We drafted the wrong guy for quarterback. But that being said, I don't think it's going out on a limb to say, because as you pointed out yesterday. You broke down the schedule. And again, everything is on paper. I understand.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, some of the teams, like, for instance, by the time we face the Eagles in 3 or 4 weeks, they could be in a tailspin. They could have a couple of major injuries as well, right?
The Bengals this week aren't as scary without Joe Burrow.
Yes, exactly. Right? So things can happen. But these next few games are critical, and that's why you got a veteran quarterback in Wentz. But there's a reason he's a backup, because he's not a starter. So we'll see how it goes, but he's going to need some help too, Tennessee. Just bringing in a quarterback that's had some success and is a veteran, has seen a lot of things. They need more help from that offensive line, and I don't know if they're going to get it. And they need more help in the running game. And now, is it official? Is Akers on the club now?
We got Akers. We got him.
Yeah, and then we have another backup quarterback. So we have a third quarterback. Right?
Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that name before.
He started some as a young quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. He wasn't a first-round pick, but I thought he was a second or third-round pick that started games for them.
There we go.
And then they gave up on him pretty quickly.
So,
and he's been wandering ever since.
No games are really must games, but you gotta. These next 3 almost have to win all 3, or at least a couple of them. We'll see how it goes. Noon start at U.S. Bank. Coverage on the Fan at 10. Be here for the Boom at noon. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com. They're shockingly affordable. All of your electrical needs. Rock Talk next with Brian Oake here on the Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's Mario Lopez. Back to school is an exciting time, but it can also be overwhelming, and kids may feel isolated, a vulnerability that human traffickers can exploit. Human trafficking doesn't always look like what you expect. Everyday moments can become opportunities for someone with bad intentions. Whether you're a parent, teacher, coach, or neighbor, check in, ask questions, stay connected. Blue Campaign is a national awareness initiative that provides resources to help recognize suspected instances of human trafficking. Learn the signs and how to report at dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Saks Off 5th is your secret to scoring fashion's most wanted deals at up to 70% off. On the hunt for designer steals that'll turn heads and leave a trail of envy? Uncover Gucci, Valentino, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more top designers at prices too good to stay confidential. Dare to get caught up in luxe layers, statement boots, fall denim, and bohemian dresses from Saks Off 5th that'll put your wardrobe on the most wanted list. Men's must-haves are here too, with tailored essentials, cozy sweaters, sneakers, and designer accessories for every fall mission. With new arrivals dropping weekly at Saks Off 5th, the pursuit for the ultimate find is always on. Whether you're looking for a seasonal wardrobe refresh, shopping for a specific occasion, or just want to get inspired, Saks Off 5th is your partner in crime for the big score. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day. This is a style lineup you won't want to miss.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Today, join Papa Murphy's in supporting Annunciation Catholic School. Order online and use the promo code HOPE. 50% of your purchase go...
Oh, I'm sorry. I just felt like that scream was needed right there on the song, didn't it?
Probably not during this vibe, but...
Oh, sorry.
Order online, use the promo code HOPE. 50% of your purchase goes directly to the school. Valid at all Minneapolis, Rochester, and Mankato locations. Let's come together and make a difference.
This is sort of got, what kind of a vibe, Brian, do you think this song has?
You know what I first thought of when it first started going was All Right Now by Free.
Yeah,
it's got kind of a...
It does kind of have that sound.
It doesn't have the teeth of it because this kind of not copyrighted, free-to-use music rarely has the edge that propels bands to superstardom, but is usually played by people who are more than competent at what they do, and they literally have a 9 to 5. They show up, they crank out 40 instrumental tracks, and then they go home for the day and license those out, and they're like, yeah, we'll forego the copyright on this because honestly, no one's going home and putting that on recreationally.
You sound as though you know a lot about music, and I think you share that knowledge with people quite often. Did I hear you have a podcast?
It's true. I do have a podcast. Have for some time. Coming up on our 6th year anniversary. More than 515 episodes in the can, as we used to say back in the business. And most recently, I talked to one of the co-owners and the events manager from Bogart's in Apple Valley. That's on the most recent episode 516, I believe, because they got their big 50th anniversary coming up at Bogart's this coming Saturday. You're hosting. I am. I'm going to be the MC. It's going to be an all-day outdoor thing starting at 4:00. And then, bowling it's interesting. When people who are really into bowling and know bowling and are good at bowling, when they start talking about it, that's interesting. Like, I like talking to professionals no matter what it is they do. And bowling is a huge part of what they do at Bogart's, and they've got a really cool thing lined up for after the live music. But, Chris Hockey's outfit, or the outfit he often plays with, Fabulous Armadillos,
are going to be the Flaming Armadillos.
I think Fabulous, but they're going to be headlining. So, no, it's going to be a cool event. But, yeah, the podcast is available anywhere you get your podcast. But I would always recommend going through the free iHeartRadio app, which is, I understand, now the #1 destination for podcasting.
I've worked the Bogart stage on a number of occasions with Meat Sauce and Larry Mandela. We've done comedy there.
Really?
On a number of occasions. That's also where I met Eric Burden of the Animals.
Well, all right.
Back in the late 90s.
Was that cool or was that disappointing?
No, it was really cool. This was back in the late 90s. I've recanted this tale on the air on a number of occasions, so if you're a regular listener, have heard this story before, bear with me.
Yeah, regular listeners are not used to hearing your stories.
I don't like to repeat things. Exactly. I don't even like talking about myself, but I'm going to make an exception here. Chaplain guy calls me up. He knows the owners of Bogart's. He knows Comet, Eric Burden in his I band. I don't know why he called it the I band, but he was Eric Burden in his I band.
The letter I or EYE?
No, I think it was letter I.
Oh, dude.
I don't get it.
Whoa.
And he says he's going to be working Bogart's, and I can arrange it so that you get to introduce him if you'd like. I go, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I've never done that before. I'd love to see him. I love the Animals. Right?
Sure.
So I show up there, and if you're standing on the stage at Bogart's looking out at the audience, to your right of the stage, right next to the stage, is the green room, little tiny room. They've really gussied it up there now for the bands, and it's very small, and it's right off the stage. So if you want to leave to go to the bathroom, you got to go through the crowd. But of course, when Meat Sauce does, they're glomming onto him and trying to touch the hem of his garment. But back then, it was a little cluttered. So I get there early, I walk back there, and Eric Burden's back there, right? And I go, hey, Eric, local radio guy, Dan Cole, going to introduce you tonight. Oh, cool, sounds great. Anything you want me to say? No, just Eric Burden. He didn't need any, he came with the British invasion back. He didn't need any of that. He just wants a paycheck, right?
Right.
So I go, because I usually don't do these things, because I'm not an idolizer and pedestalizer for the most part, but I go, hey, been a big fan. Mind if I get an autograph? He goes, no, I don't care. So I don't have anything to put an autograph on.
Oh, man.
So I'm looking around and I see a brown lunch bag that hasn't been used. So it's just
nice and flat.
And I sit there and I hand it to him. He looks at it and he goes, then he just kind of casts it aside. He goes over to his he's got like a bag, it's not like a hard leather briefcase, but it's got a handle like that. It's not a backpack either, right? It's a little satchel.
Yeah.
And he opens it up.
Man bag.
Now, this is well before, cell phones, right?
Yeah.
With selfies, right? So he pulled, we were just starting the cell phone era then. But anyway, he pulls out, remember when we used to take photographs? You'd bring the film to Walgreens and they would develop it and you'd go and you'd get the little package and there'd be duplicates.
Or you'd drive to one of those little photomat booths that was out in some parking lot somewhere.
So he pulls one out, he's flipping through pictures, he pulls one and looks at it and he signs it and he gives it to me and I still have it to this. It's in my office.
It's one of his own personal photos.
Yeah, one of his own personal photos that I have of Eric Burden. And then he did his thing and the one thing I realized, and you've seen a lot of aging rockers, I'm sure, over the years.
Certainly have.
Some of them, their voice it's not there anymore. They were a lot of these guys were screamers before they became singers, right? They were just screaming rock like I did with the
Yeah.
They do those kinds of things. And some don't take very good care of their voices, or they just blow them out. I would say to you that I thought his voice was better that night than back when he was singing in the 60s in his heyday.
It's certainly possible. That's the thing. People who stay at it in practice, actually, if you're going to maintain any kind of a decent voice, if you didn't already ruin it, vocal maintenance and vocal care is actually really crucial for long term. It will, like any part of your body, there's going to be wear and tear. And especially if you sang with it rather carefree and recklessly when you were young, yeah, you got to take care of it. That happened to me when I went to see the band Kansas at some big outdoor thing downtown. I'm like, oh, these guys are going to look like 10 miles of bad road and they're going to sound worse. It's going to be terrible. Their harmonies were every bit as good, if not better, than they were on the records. They sounded spectacularly good. I stood there with my mouth hanging open. It was great.
Didn't Steven Tyler blow his? Didn't he have like a vocal cord injury of some sort? And now they're sort of done, and it's mostly because he can't sing anymore, right? Is that right? Or
that's a big part of it, yeah. I think that there's lots of other factors involved there. But no, and if you think, he did the kind of screaming that you do now, and you take it for granted when your body's young that you can just always do that, but obviously that's not the case.
Yeah. Angel of Death, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
A name that a lot of listeners might not recognize.
The Grim Reaper of Rock, or the Angel of Death. I usually am called upon to...
I like Grim Reaper of Rock. That's
do you like
good.
That?
Did you just think of that?
I just popped out of my head.
I love it. The Grim Reaper of Rock.
Well,
I love that.
Again, I'm not the one ushering them across the river Styx to the underworld, but I'm often called upon to eulogize some of the greats and important figures in the history of rock and roll. And this one today, not a household name and not a face that most people could pick out of a lineup, but I promise you, every single person listening to us right now of a certain age has absolutely heard his music and his effort. And we are talking, of course, about Bobby Hart of the legendary songwriting and production duo Boyce and Hart, Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart and Tommy Boyce together, without them, there are not the Monkees as we know them, right? They wrote giant hits like Last Train to Clarksville, I'm Not Your Stepping Stone. He apparently died at home at the age of 86 in Los Angeles. He broke his hip last year and has been in ill health ever since. But he didn't just write those two songs for the Monkees. You know, the big theme song for their wildly popular television show. Here we come. Yeah. That's Boyce and Hart right there. And as I mentioned, they also did the Monkees' first #1 hit, which was The Last Train to Clarksville. And that first Monkees record was so popular in an era where it did not happen very often. It sold more than 1 million copies, went to #1, and 6 of the songs on that were by Boyce and Hart. So that was sort of their big claim to fame. And of course, early on, famously, the Monkees didn't play any of their own instruments. That was a Boyce and Hart studio band called the Candy Store Prophets, that were all the players on those first records. But Mickey Dolenz has gone on record numerous times, the drummer from the Monkees, saying
the only surviving member of the Monkees.
Correct, which is weird, man. That's hard to think about. But they got super popular, and then to the point where they started appearing on TV. They were on episodes of I Dream of Genie and Bewitched. Bobby Hart and Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart were. And they also campaigned for Robert F. Kennedy when he ran for president in 1968. They wrote a song called LUV, which stood for Let Us Vote, in support of the 26th Amendment, which in 1971 lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. And they even wrote the theme song to Days of Our Lives.
Think about it.
The soap opera. So again, not a household
best soap opera song ever.
Well, it's up there. Name a better one.
Like sands in an hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Exactly. I mean, name a better one. There were certainly other. General Hospital, kind of a big deal. Young and the Restless, boring.
What was the one with Erica Kane? Well, All My Children.
Yeah, All My Children. Also a classic.
That might be one of the most and that she was maybe the most recognizable character in the history of
Susan Lucci.
Soap operas.
Oh, without question.
And remember, she never won Best Actress, and then
not for a long time.
Win it. But
yeah, that was sort of her claim to fame. In addition to being an absolute lifer in the soap opera game, she had the longest running of someone at her caliber, her strata, that never won a popular daytime Emmy award.
Back in my Haight-Ashbury days, my brother's 3 years older than me, and it was his era of people that was kind of a cult thing for to watch.
All My Children?
All My Children. They would watch it because it was just, well, you know how soap operas are, and she was just evil. I mean, she was
diabolical.
She was diabolical.
Yeah.
And so everybody
She
watched.
was Joan Collins before Joan Collins was Joan Collins.
So, well, you know what? You mentioned the songwriting teams, and that's what. There are so many of them out there that you have no idea. They don't sing their own songs for the most part. Right. Some do, but most they're those solo writers or duos that write all sorts of hits. I mean, one of the most famous is Burt Bacharach and Carol Bayer Sager. If you look at the songs that they've written, I mean, the list just goes on and on. There are people that have a knack for being able to say, need a song, huh? Okay, and they can get a melody.
Well, Carole King and Jerry Goffin. I mean, one of the most famous songwriting duos in American history. And there's a bunch of others. Chapman Chin, they did a ton of the Blondie stuff, and Susie Quattro back in the 70s. They did the Knacks, My Sharona. Yes. They had a style, they had a sound. And you're exactly right. There are just certain people that had cracked the code. They knew how to write a hit, and they weren't giving it away for free. But if the label said, we're bringing in Chapman Chin, we're going to take this song from King Goffin or Goffin and King or whatever the case was, you knew that your odds were increased exponentially that you were going to have something that hit the charts.
I read a story in a magazine a few years back. I wish I could remember the guy's name, and I'll look for it again. But there was just a feature piece on him when I was talking about as he was sitting at his his Malibu home overlooking the ocean. He's thinking, got to write a song for whoever. Got to write a song for the Flaming Armadillos today. What will I come up with? They knock something out, send it to him, it goes to number one, and he makes a boatload of money.
Yep.
And these guys are just making and they just have this ability to write songs that Neil Diamond's another one.
Yep.
The Neil Diamond story.
Oh, Glenn Campbell, Mac Davis, all kinds of people on that list.
Neil Diamond was working for the U.S. version of Tin Pan Alley, right? He died in New York, and apparently, as the story goes, he wanted to start doing his own songs, and the record company said, Neil, I think you might as well just stick to writing songs. He said, well, I'm going to give it a try. He became one of the most successful, not only songwriters, but singer-songwriters, performers in the history of
a lot of them don't cross over like that. Like, Boyce and Hart did kind of. Carole King obviously did in a huge way. But a lot of these people, and let's be honest, Bob Dylan ultimately did it as well. Yes. But for 3-4 years, he was writing hits for other people well before he became the household name and sort of the countercultural figurehead that he would go on to be.
Neil Young wrote the song "A Lot of Love" for Nicolette Larson, and that was her. And she's passed away, but that was her, biggest hit ever. I mean,
I couldn't name another song by her if I had to.
It made her a household name, but that was a song. I don't know if it was written for her by Neil Young specifically, but that was a song he wrote that I'm sure Young has done at one time or another. 10 to beat. Do we have time for?
Well, before we do that, I do have a correction to make.
Uh-oh.
I screwed up my best soap opera song of all time. I confused Days of Our Lives with The Young and the Restless.
Oh,
The Young and the Restless has the best soap opera theme song.
Well, I'm glad
I had to get that correction out.
That's the one.
I can't go on record with Days of Our Lives as my favorite.
I even threw out Young and the Restless because when I was my 1 year at college, before I decided college was for squares, which I mistakenly was absolutely right about, between two classes, I would go to the student union because I didn't want to go all the way back to my dorm. And every day, the TV in the student union was tuned into Young and the Restless. So over the course of 9 months, I became intimate with the characters and the lives and the storylines of the Young and the Restless. But then you'd go on vacation for a week or go away for break and come back. You'd sit down and watch it. You'd be able to pick up exactly where you left off, no matter how many episodes you missed. Daytime television was awful, but I too was brought under its sway for a year.
Are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Rock rank.
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 It's
my
that.
favorite open. I think about it.
It's very creative, isn't it?
I love it. Rock rank. What are we ranking today?
Last week we did your 5 most underrated bands or artists of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Now we must do the other side of it. You need to get a little negative here. Your top 5 most overrated bands / artists of all time. So 5 artists or bands that you don't understand why other people think they're at the level that they are.
Okay, that's fair. Now, and just to be real clear to set this up, I'd love to hear if any of the listeners want to hit the text line with their ideas and contributions to this. I wouldn't mind hearing some of those, but I think it's important to remember that I can like a band and still find them wildly overrated. This is not a matter of just hate or love.
Sure.
Like, I'll give you an example. I'll start at number 5. Oasis. I think Oasis is a good band. I think they have a couple of genuinely great songs, and we maybe haven't felt it as much here as the rest of the world, certainly in Europe and especially in England. The freakish, outrageously gigantic stature and place that they occupy in rock history is, I don't get it, because they didn't do anything new. They were kind of a throwback to the 60s, the jangly 60s sound of British rock, and Britpop was definitely enjoying a moment. But here we are 30 years later after their peak, and they are still revered like unto gods, and I do not understand. I think that they are wildly overrated because they're good, but they're not great.
Rock ranked.
Rock rank.
Coming in at number 4, I am going to have to go with Luke Bryan. I already don't like a lot of bro country, but of all, he's the Katy Perry of bro country. He is vapid and empty. The lyrics mean nothing. The music could not be more formulaic. And he's arguably one of the biggest names in country in the last 20 years. I do not get it. I'm cool with people liking pop music. I love a ton of pop music, but his music smells really bad to me. I think he's wildly overrated.
Rock right.
What does vapid mean?
Empty, stupid, without substance, or hell, I would say we stop short of vapid here in the Commonwealth.
By the way, you said you want some text messages from people. Someone says Black Keys are my most overrated band. Yeah,
I can see where you think that. They're kind of a poor man's White Stripes, but they've changed so much over their career, and they may be a little overrated, but I happen to be a pretty gigantic fan of them, but I totally understand.
Here's another U2.
So here's the thing. I did a little research on this because I had my list pretty easy. Online, when you go to look at most overrated of all time, people love to throw U2 under the bus. They love to throw Nirvana under the bus just because they only really had 2, maybe 3 proper studio albums. But they changed everything, or they were the poster children of the time when everything changed in American popular music. I can't think they're overrated. U2, I've seen live 9 times. Every time better than the last. This band continues to grow with age. They've gone through no less than a half dozen amazing reinventions.
Do they have the Slash or the Edge? Which one do they have?
They have the Edge.
The Edge.
I could not disagree more with the take on U2, because if you spend real time with their catalog, but again, if I called Rush overrated, then people would also, again, this is a very personal kind of thing, but I can't see it with U2. I think they are rated perfectly. They deserve to be recognized as one of the biggest bands on the world. Another band, maybe not a household name, but they came along and at a time when American rock and roll was a little stagnant, and everyone said this band saved rock and roll. They were utterly amazing. Not quite. A little later than that. This would be the early 2000s, the Audies, if you will. A band called The Strokes. Very competent band. Good band. Did they save rock and roll? Absolutely not. Rock and roll was fine, but they, for whatever reason, were held in a higher regard than all of the other contemporaries at the time, and to this day are still spoken about with hushed reverence when people talk about really, really great bands. Number 2 on my list of the most overrated bands or artists of all time. I'm not going to try to go for the low-hanging fruit, but I am going to go with the band Tool. You familiar with the band Tool?
Somebody else had on that.
Yeah, Tool is good. Again, there are Tool songs that I like. There's about half of one EP that I think is truly great. And the rest of it is sort of this dark prog metal wankery that is just not... I don't get it. I don't think it's satisfying. It's decent. It's competent, but is it arena headliner great? Absolutely not. No, I think Tool is.
Are they more of a product of there wasn't a lot of other great rock out at that time?
Yes, I think that's absolutely, and certainly not people who were doing rock like that. If you wanted sort of the thinking man's rock and roll, you had to go with more of the sort of blousy shirts and curly hair of a band like Dream Theater, and so for people who wanted exactly. But trust me, the Dream Theater Army is out
Academy?
there. Dream Academy's genius. Yeah. They only have the one hit, but no, that's brilliant.
Life
Pastoral Brit rock. Exactly. No, that's
who's number one on your list
all time.
I think it's going to. I'm going to guess it's either going to be Steely Dan or the Who.
Well, I one honorable mention that's going to go in because I think they're both the same band, just one version more terrible than the other. Imagine Dragons and 21 Pilots. 21 Pilots is for people who think that Imagine Dragons rocks too hard, and Imagine Dragons does not rock hard. These are both arena headlining bands that utterly defy description, or again, gobsmacked at the fact that they're there, but so be it. People can like what they like.
I saw Imagine Dragons at Target Field because my son Leo, the first concert he ever went to, because he absolutely loved them. And I thought they were pretty good.
And that's just it. I don't think they're a terrible band, but I think they're wildly overrated. So I think it's important we remember our terms here. But number one on my all-time list of the most overrated artists, when we talk about the quality of their output compared to the fame and success and influence they've gone on to engender later in their career, and I'm going to make some enemies on this one, the most underrated performer that I can think of, overrated performer I can think of is not an American, but a Canadian. Do you have any guesses there, Tanner?
I thought you were going to go with Prince there for a second.
No. Prince matters.
Canadian?
Prince, yeah.
Alanis Morissette?
He's got one name. He's and I'm using very sarcastic air quotes, a rapper.
Oh, Drake.
Yep.
Oh, no, 100%.
Way overrated. I mean, this guy is revered in ways that few artists ever will be or ever could be, although many aspire to be, and I can't figure out what it's based on. Everything I've ever heard by him,
mumble rap,
it's pedestrian. There's zero flow. There's not anything that's even kind of exciting or interesting, and it's not even the kind of pablum that I can understand why people eat up so furiously and frequently and to such a great regard, and then hold him in such high esteem, and even his colleagues like, oh man, we got to get Drake on this joint. I'm like, no, you do not. He is not good, and wildly, I think it's not even close, wildly overrated.
This is
we're gonna have some Common Man liners out of that segment, by the way, in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is wildly overrated. I like that.
You're welcome.
This is a topic that's garnered a lot.
I knew it would.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Reaction?
A lot of other bands, including the Beatles, thrown in there.
The Beatles were another popular one on those lists I look at which case we're done having a conversation, because if you think they're actually, yes, they're highly regarded and people talk about them in godlike terms, but that's because they are, and they literally wrote the book that is still being followed more than 60 years later.
Put it this way, you don't have to like them, but you must respect them.
Absolutely.
And then one last text message, because as tend to be said, we're always about accuracy. This one says, Tenna is probably aware, but after Boyce and Hart went their separate ways, Tommy Boyce went on to found the vocal group Boyce II Men. Boyce II Men.
Is that one of the staff writers?
Yeah, that was Larry Mandela.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Normally would expect that from Maury Amsterdam guy, but that's a Larry.
That was a Maury Amsterdam guy like email right there.
Yeah, it was very much. You got a podcast?
I do. It's available wherever you get your podcast. The iHeartRadio app is absolutely the best place to get it. But more than 500 episodes of talking to musicians and other people that help define this community that we live in. And if anybody's going out to Bogarts on Saturday, I'll see you there.
And the only place you can hear Rock Rank is on Rock Talk. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.
12:30. We'll take a break, come back. 10 of you got 534.
Yeah, can we bring out the brooms tonight?
Hey, what's up? It's Mario Lopez. Back to school is an exciting time, but it can also be overwhelming, and kids may feel isolated, a vulnerability that human traffickers can exploit. Human trafficking doesn't always look like what you expect. Everyday moments can become opportunities for someone with bad intentions. Whether you're a parent, teacher, coach, or neighbor, check in. Ask questions. Stay connected. Blue Campaign is a national awareness initiative that provides resources to help recognize suspected instances of human trafficking. Learn the signs and how to report at dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Come on. Why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Saks Fifth is your secret to fashion's most wanted deals at up to 70% off. On the hunt for designer steals that'll turn heads and leave a trail of envy? Uncover Gucci, Valentino, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more, with new arrivals dropping weekly at prices too good to stay confidential. Luxe layers, statement boots, and tailored essentials from Saks Fifth will put your wardrobe on the most wanted list. Head to SaksOffFifth.com or a Saks Fifth store near you for a style lineup you won't want to miss.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.